What's up, everyone? It's Anna, also known as that Star Wars girl, and before we get on to the topic of the video today, I need to make something perfectly clear. My content in my channel is not for children, nor has it ever been, especially the topic of today's video, although I think that it's something that children need to hear, because the word tomboy has absolutely nothing wrong with it. It is not derogatory in any way, shape, or form, and no little girl should be ashamed of being called a tomboy, just as no little boy should be ashamed of being called a boy. The word boy is not a derogatory term, nor is the word man or men. Let's make that very clear. But yes, my content and my channel is not for children, so if you are under the age of 13, go away and do not come back. Or if you're intrigued by this, watch it from a grown-up's account with a grown-up supervision. Alright, that being said, moving on to the topic of this video. So, recently, there's been a lot of interviews coming out of actors that are in The Rise of Skywalker, because the movie's coming out. It's coming out in, I think, less than 20 days. So it's the big closing, the final episode in the Disney Star Wars fan fiction movies. So this is going to be the conclusion. We're not going to see Rey anymore. Hopefully, fingers crossed, after this movie. We're not going to see Kylo Ren anymore. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We're not going to get to see Finn. Finn was the one I had hope for, and then, it's not your fault, dude. They did you dirty. Poe, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't really care, though. They're going to kill C-3PO. They're going to kill Chewie. They're going to destroy the Millennium Falcon. Every shred of everything that we cared about that was left is getting destroyed. They're going to exploit Leia, from the grave. They're going to exploit the shit out of her. They're still going to continue to disrespect Luke Skywalker. It's just going to be a jumble fuck of disaster. You can go read the leaks. I did a really long video, an hour-long video where I read all of them. I've heard since then that they've changed things from the leaks. They changed the whole beginning about how they were going to have a scene of Luke and Leia, him training her when they were younger, and it was going to be, CG'd with voice actors, but apparently they're not doing that anymore. There's going to be other stuff, and Rey's going to be a Skywalker at the end of the movie. It's going to be phenomenally awful. You can just look at the trailers and just see, holy fuck, it's J.J. Abrams trying to shove as much stuff in the camera as possible so you don't pay attention to how bad of a story it is, that it's a big jumble fuck of a disaster. So, like I said, actors and, actresses that are in the movie have been out doing interviews because they gotta do promotion. They gotta, they signed a contract with Disney. They have to go and they have to talk about this movie because it's, that's part of, the marketing for it. People want to see the actors. People want to see and know what they're talking about. All the crazy Rey lowers are hanging on to every single word that Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver say, because and it's like, oh, okay, you're shipping an extremely toxic relationship, but when people call it out and, show you the facts, you want to go and cry and say that we're the insane ones, but all right, whatever. So, Daisy Ridley, I didn't know too much about her, to be completely honest. She wasn't someone that I don't really care for her portrayal of Rey, but I don't hold that. I don't think that that's her fault. I think that she's working with, or at least I felt that before I found out this information. I will never blame actors for the scripts that they are given. They didn't write it. It's not their fault. And I have seen before in the past with other actors when, you see an actor in a movie and it's like, wow, that was amazing. Then you see them in another movie. It's like, what the hell? That person was so good in that movie. And I think a lot of that has to do with the directing. If you get a director that doesn't like to work with actors, that doesn't know how to work with actors, that, just doesn't know how to work with an actor to bring that character to life, because an actor will think of what their portrayal, what they feel is the right portrayal of that, and sometimes that works, but other times the actor is just doing what they feel, but that not necessarily coincides with the vision of the overall big picture. And that's where a director comes in to, assist the actor with, hey, I want it, you said that great, but I want it to be more like this. It's absolutely great when you watch Tom Hanks explain how he did the voice acting for Woody, and how he said, you can say this line 50 times and, 50 different voices, and they'll always come up with the one way you didn't say it. It's great. Go watch those interviews with Tom Hanks about, playing Woody in Toy Story. Now, with Daisy Ridley, she just did this whole photo shoot, like wearing Calvin Klein, and she was on the cover of British GQ, because, she's from England, she's a Brit, they have, their own version of GQ, and they did a big whole piece on her. It's a very long article, so, You can go ahead and read it if you'd like, but there was something in the article that alarmed me. A lot of it alarmed me. Again, I didn't know very much about her. As a habit, I try not to learn a lot about actors because sometimes when you see people on screen, it's like, okay, you since you don't know them on a personal level, you see them and you kind of, see them as that character. I did that a lot with, Luke Skywalker and Mark Hamill. I don't know Mark Hamill. I don't know him personally. So when I see Mark Hamill, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Luke Skywalker. The kid in me is freaking out. And then I've interacted with Mark Hamill on Twitter, and he's a very different person than who Luke Skywalker is. Now with Daisy Ridley, she wasn't even someone that I even cared to look into. I'm like, all right, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. In my opinion, from watching the movie, I don't think you're giving the best performance, but it might not be you. The lines you're getting aren't very good, and maybe the direction's shit based on the directors that you worked with, J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson. I'm gonna go with the directing is fucking shit and the scripts are shit. So I'm not gonna, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. Not really big blame on her. But then I read this article. So this girl, get this. She talks about how they try to coincide her with Rey, and I'm like, what do you mean? She's trying to say that her story is similar to Rey's, is how, because she was an underdog, she was an unknown actress, and that she got the big role in Star Wars, but then she talks, about how she's got stalkers, how paparazzi are following her, that it made her physically sick, and she had to take a 6-month sabbatical from filming The Rise of Skywalker because she was getting holes in her stomach. But then you find out about the girl's diet. Then you find out, she couldn't take the pressure, but she can't take the pressure even though she chose to have a career as an actress. A career that, if you want to go be in a movie like Star Wars, a big blockbuster hit, that everyone in the entire world is going to know your name, they're going to know your face, they are going to know who you are for the rest of your life. They're going to know the second you get cast in that movie, everyone's going to know. She knew that. She accepted it. Hey, guess what? Her parents sent her to a boarding school in, it's where she trained to become an actress. She did singing, acting, and dancing. She went to fucking boarding school for acting. She's known that this is what she's wanted to do since she was a child, and her parents sent her to school for it. She has been training her entire life for this. She should know that, hey, paparazzi and, people, becoming obsessed with actors is a thing. That's a really big thing. If you didn't know that, go watch, Go Google it. Go watch the movie The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner. Great fucking movie. You can learn a little bit about, stalking in that movie. Heck, you can watch any movie on stalking. But guess what? That happens. She knows this because she's trained for it her entire life. But they wanted to act it in this article piece. They're trying to make it paint like she's the youngest of 5 daughters. And, she talks about how she lived in this really fancy neighborhood in London. And it's like one of the richest neighborhoods. She lived on this really rich street where all these houses are beautiful, but she lived in the dump. And they're trying to paint it like, she's from a good neighborhood, but she wasn't the rich one. And then you look at it, it's like, okay, there was 5 kids. 5 kids. And you sent one of them off to boarding school. It didn't say where her other sisters went, but you're sending 5 kids off to boarding school. And yeah, you got to feed 5 kids. You got to pay however much to send your kids to fancy private boarding schools. And, you're not going to, repaint your house on the big fancy block. Because she says now currently the house looks gorgeous. But anyway, that's not the point. That is not the point. The point is, I was alarmed because I scrolled down in the article and I came across this quote. I have an issue with the word tomboy. You're saying a little girl is like a boy because she's active, and then you read further on in the article, and this is the entire quote. In the past, Ridley would describe herself as a tomboy, but no longer. I now have an issue with the word tomboy. Why has there got to be a boy in it? I was like, hold on, you're saying a little girl is actually like a boy because she likes to be active? In terms of energy, I would say I do have a strong masculine energy as well as a feminine, but I was a girl and I am one. So because there's the word boy in the word tomboy, she doesn't like it. She's offended by the word tomboy simply because it is the word Tom and boy. Okay, so you don't want the word boy in Tom? What's that leave you with? Tom! That's a guy's name. Are you going to be offended because you're going to be called Tom, which is a male name? I've never met a girl named Tom. I know that usually is a masculine name. That's something that you give to that's a baby boy's name. That's usually what people name their baby boys, not their baby girls. But so you have a problem with the fact that there's the word boy in tomboy to describe a girl. Whenever you hear the word tomboy, guess what? I don't know anyone that associates that with a boy. That is a feminine nickname for a little girl that, in my head, when I think of the difference between a tomboy and a girly girl, I always reference that movie with the Olsen twins, It Takes Two. Christy Alley's in it. It's where, one of the American Ashley twins is Amanda. She's the tomboy. She lives in New York. I think she lives in the Bronx. And, she likes to wear overalls and baseball caps. And she's really good at sports. And then you have the exact opposite, which is Alyssa. She's the high-class princess society type of girl. She's got all the dolls. She's got the fancy dresses. And then they meet and they switch. And it's a great movie. I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it yet. But there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing less feminine about a little girl liking to play sports. There's nothing derogatory of using the term tomboy for a girl. There's nothing derogatory about using the word boy to reference a girl, especially when it's a tomboy. I don't know anyone that would be offended by that. This is the exact same thing as when I saw women all of a sudden, all these crazy feminists now, they don't want it to be the word women. They're offended that the word man or men is in the definition or, the word for being a woman. Woman, because it's got a man in it. And then women, because it's got the word men in it. They don't want that. They want to change it to womix. So remove the E or the A and put an X in it. Because they don't want any reference to being, having words within words that are other words. I'm like, okay, so if the word pet, hear me out for this. The word pet. All right, you got, let's say that was a masculine term, that's something that you refer to only male things. Okay, so then are you going to be offended because it's Petco or PetSmart? You're not going to go buy your dog food for your dogs because that word for pet, that's a derogatory in your mind term because it references males? It's like that one lady that went around saying, oh, we need to kill all the boy babies. We need to stop having boy babies. Don't have boy babies. It's like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Why on earth did it become a crime to be a boy? Why is it a crime to have the word boy in things? Why is it such a bad thing to be a man or to be a boy? What do these people think when these words come out of their mouth? Daisy really doesn't have kids, but what if in the future she has a son? What if she has a son and he sees that? He's like, Mom, what's wrong with being a boy? Why don't you like the word boy? There is nothing wrong with being called a tomboy as a little girl just because it has the word boy in it. It's okay to like sports. It's okay to be active. You can go see a girly girl that's just as active as a tomboy. You see kids, when they got the energy, and it doesn't matter what kind of stuff they're into. It doesn't matter if they like to play sports or if they like to play with dolls. When kids have energy, they are bouncing off the walls, and the second they knock out, it's like, woo, now we can rest. Now everything is stopped. But still, I don't know when this entire, way of thinking happened. What is wrong with the world? This woman, she wants to talk about how she is a role model for kids now, and it's like, okay, your character is a Mary Sue. Your character literally accomplishes nothing. They tried to make the comparison between Rey and Luke Skywalker, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Luke Skywalker, the only reason he was wanting to stay on Tatooine was because he felt an obligation to his family. When his family died, he left. He left and he went on the adventure with Obi-Wan. He left and he went for his destiny. What did Rey do? Her family literally abandoned her. They did not care about her. They left her on that planet to rot. They left her with some guy that just used her to go basically be his indentured servant, and she's got to go through, the Star Destroyer and try to find parts and then go give it to him and, barely get, a little instant bread thing every single day. She's barely eating, and she's completely content to just to stay in the AT-AT and just live like that, scratching into the wall. What the fuck kind of hero is that? She has no aspiration. She has no ambition. She has no desire to go find her family. She has no desire to improve herself, to leave and make something of herself, to go on an adventure. Not until Finn all of a sudden shows up. Before that, she was completely fine doing that every single day. That is not someone to look up to. Nobody wants to look... Why on earth would you want your children to aspire to do nothing with their lives? To aspire to be lazy? To aspire to accept, just being treated like absolute garbage? Why the fuck would anyone want to look up to someone like that? And that's Rey. That's what everyone wants to shove down your throat. That's what Disney wants to shove down our throats. That's the hero that we all need to look up to. No, fuck that. Fuck that. With something hard and sandpapery. Luke was somebody to look up to. Leia was somebody to look up to. Han fucking Solo was somebody to look up to until Disney got their grimy little hands on it and destroyed it. And, identity politics SJW mentality. I had not seen that associated with Daisy Ridley until I saw that. What the fuck is wrong with being called a tomboy? What the fuck is wrong with the word boy? If you want to say that, what's going to happen when you have a son one day? Like, God forbid you have a son one day and he sees this. Until you mature a little bit, you're 27 years old. If this is what you're thinking of right now, and, you know, it's not just an actual fad that's going around, if you're actually offended on the fact that you were referred to as a tomboy when it's very clear by the way that you dress, by the way that you do your hair, even you yourself called yourself a tomboy, and growing up, if you go look at pictures of Daisy Ridley growing up, out of 5 daughters, she's the tomboy. She's the youngest. She's the tomboy out of the family. She was loud and proud about that until all of a sudden the word boy is offensive. The word men is offensive. If you're a man, you're basically the embodiment of evil. And now, I don't know if she actually believes it or if it's just this fad and if she's sucked into this weird Hollywood mindset that all of these, you know, up-and-coming actresses are, you know, getting sucked into now. I don't know what it is, but seeing that really fucking alarmed me. And, you know, I hated the character Ray before, and, you know, I didn't have a problem with Daisy Ridley before, but now I fucking do. Now I do. When you're going to insult the word boy, when you're going to say the word boy is derogatory, and, you know, that coincides with actual little boys who, you know, were usually the demographic that, you know, made George Lucas all the money, you know, yeah, typically went to little boys. I can tell you, when I was a little girl growing up, I had an easier time finding friends that were boys that like Star Wars than girls that like Star Wars. It was a lot easier to talk to boys about Star Wars than it is to find girls. I knew I was in the minority when it came to being, you know, young Star Wars fans. And I was okay with that because I didn't care. I love Star Wars. I don't care who I played with that talked about Star Wars. I didn't care if I played with boys or if I played with girls. As long as, you know, I'm playing with my action figures and we're talking about Star Wars and we're all, you know, talking and enjoying something that we all, you know, love together, that was the goal of it. But now all of a sudden it's fucking, you're the embodiment of evil if you're a boy. It sickens me. I don't understand these people. I don't know why people think this way. And I felt like it was something that nobody was talking about. This article has been out for days now and nobody talked about it. And this is something that's really alarming and I think needed to be brought to everyone's attention. There's a lot more stuff in this article that it really shows what an entitled snob Daisy Ridley is. She wants to talk about, oh my gosh, the paparazzi followed me. It's like, girl, smallest violin in the world for you and your fucking problems. Michael Jackson had to wear, you know, masks when he went outside because of the people following him. You don't think Brad Pitt gets people following him? You don't think Tom Cruise, Michael Fassbender, any male actor? Because she has to virtue signal. She has to say, oh, it's me. It's such a hard thing being, you know, a woman and, you know, having people follow you. It's like, guess what? The guys have it too. The guys have like hundreds of women following them, trying to marry them, trying to break into their houses, you know, to try to do stuff to them. Because they all have these creepy fantasies that they're going to marry him and that they're going to fall Brad Pitt's going to fall madly in love with them. Those men, they got to deal with shit too. So don't just fucking virtue signal because you're a girl. Don't put yourself up on that pedestal because you're a woman. Men have it hard too. You got to acknowledge that. And doing this, virtue signaling like this, it's not fucking okay. And I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. Anyway, guys, I'm about to die. My throat is so sore. I felt like I needed to talk about this. I'll probably do a live stream about this later today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's okay too. This is not an enjoyable topic, and I will be back later. Until next time, though, everyone, have a great rest of your day, and may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye, everyone. What's up, everyone? It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and I have an Etsy store, so if you've ever wanted to own a print of my artwork, this is the place to go. As you can see, I have a lot of recognizable characters, from horror films to heroes to Star Wars characters. Some of the notable characters I have on here are Darth Vader, which I did a couple live streams painting, so you can own a print of this painting. I also have Luke Skywalker, the binary sunset version, one of my favorite scenes in the original New Hope movie. I have Darth Maul, which Ray Parks himself actually complimented me on Instagram. And then last but certainly not least, Ahsoka Tano. So if you want to own any of these prints, go right on over to my Etsy store. Again, that's The Art of Anna, That Star Wars Girl, or TSWG for short. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. What's up, everyone? I have a P.O. box, so if you want to send me some mail, go ahead and send it to Anna, that Star Wars girl, or TSWG for short, at P.O. Box number 28171, Santa Ana, California, 927998171. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.